I'm attorney Martin Nicholson from the Law Office of Martin Nicholson, also known as the Battery Man for my focus on criminal battery cases. Now I'm going to talk about Tyreek Hill's encounter with police, and it is a stark reminder of racial profiling and excessive force. So yesterday, as he was going to his NFL game, and Tyreek Hill is an NFL player, voted one of the most valuable players in the NFL, right? So in this world where sports icons are often seen as untouchable, this event here has shown us that not even the most celebrated athletes, especially African American athletes, are immune from the pervasive issues of racial profiling and excessive police force. The incident involving Tyreek Hill is a disturbing example of our society's problems when it comes to race. Now, you would think his name might afford him some level of recognition. It did little at the time to protect him from the prejudice that countless others face daily. Now, we're going to play this video, and I'm going to come back and comment on the other side.
Hey, keep your window down. Keep your window down, I'm going to get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out.
No way.
Chill out.
Dylan, that's
Get him
Tyreek.
video.
I did. Dylan.
Yo, FaceTime. FaceTime me.
We tell you, you understand? Not with you, one.
What the? Dylan, no. I'm trying to get on video.
Flip me around.
They put him in handcuffs.
No way. Flip me around.
Oh.
What? No, he's on his way to the game. Oh, I bet you this Rolls Royce is another.
Now, I'm going to hit play here. So you hear him say, put your window down, put your window down.
Chill out.
Now, here's an interesting part of it. Now, there may be other video out there, but it appears that there's an edit, right? Like in this video here that I found, it doesn't really show them getting him out of the car and like putting him on the ground. And there may be some video out there that shows that. So please, if you have it, feel free to comment or give me a link to where that is. That's the piece of the video that is kind of questioning about what actually transpired at that particular point.
Get him video.
I did. Dylan.
But you can see them like twisting his arm back. You have all these officers, and it's supposed to be about a minor traffic violation. Now, I'm going to mention that this appears to be a situation of racial profiling, but we don't have all the evidence, right? And the reason why I'll admit I'm a little bit biased because in my life, in my personal experience, I can relate to that because one time, there's been multiple, one time I was driving my car and there was a grassy median in the middle, and on the other side of the road was a sheriff's car, deputy's sheriff's car. And another car went buzzing right past me at a high rate of speed. And it was a white car, and there were 4 white people in the car. The sheriff crosses over the grassy median, and I'm thinking he's getting ready to go after those people that were in the car. But no, he gets behind me, starts following me, and then we get to a stoplight. Stoplight turns green. I cross over a stoplight, then he turns his lights on, pulls me over, asked me how fast I was going. And I told him, I also had my radar detector on, so I knew how fast I was going, and I knew I wasn't going over the speed limit. I knew that car that passed me was going faster. I didn't say all this to the officer, but I knew that I was not going over the speed limit. And so he said, oh, well, you're going, I think the speed limit is 50. He said, oh, you were going like 60 or 65, which was not true. I give my ID. He goes back. He gives me my ID card back. Then says, well, I'm just giving you a warning or whatever, and lets me go. Another time, I was with my wife. We get pulled over. It was Thanksgiving. I'm doing everything right, and the officer says, "Oh, well, your license plate is expired." It wasn't expired, but once again, he gave me a warning and let me go. So I use those couple examples to say that I was pulled over for no reason whatsoever. They didn't even give me a ticket or anything because there was no reason to give me a ticket, but that's what they did. So I'm convinced that it was basically based upon the color of my skin, and then they wanted to see what they could find. Was I going to go off on them? Did they smell any kind of odor of marijuana? Because that's what happens. My clients, I say, oh, we smelled the odor of marijuana. And then they have this reason to kind of pull them over, or not pull them over, but then to get them out of the car and harass them. So I'm not convinced that this was just some, innocent interaction with the police. I think he was driving a fancy car. Apparently, in one of the interviews I saw with him after the game, he didn't announce himself as Tyreek Hill. Obviously, they probably should have known when they ran his license plate, but he didn't get in there and say it. That's if, the license plate's under his name. I don't know all that, but he definitely did not, from the video, seem like he posed any threat other than, just being a big black man. Now, the reason why I'm wearing this shirt that says Jefferson Cleaners, from George Jefferson. You remember, from the Jeffersons, moving on up to the east side to a deluxe apartment in the sky. I feel like the same thing with Tyreek Hill. Look, this dude is one of the best players in the NFL. He has this fancy car, McLaren. Now, maybe he was going fast, but there are a lot of other people that drive fast. Do you get him out of the car and put him on the ground? Maybe the body cam footage is going to show something else. But I will say this, that the police suspended one of the officers, I think with pay, but that lets you know that there's probably something a little bit more going on than what they're telling you, because they don't just automatically suspend the officer. If that officer, out of all those officers there's one of them that they suspended, makes you think that maybe something happened that was improper. And release the video. Release the body cam video. Maybe by the time I get this video out, maybe the body cam video footage is out there. And let's see, did he do something that deserved that? The video that we've seen that's been put out there doesn't show it, that he did anything, other than maybe, speed. But we will have to see when they get in there and release whatever they're going to release. Once again, this type of stuff is a grim reminder of the racial bias that's still alive and well for people that don't get in there and believe in it. In my experience that I mentioned, they're not unique. They echo the sentiments of many who live in these marginalized communities. So, look, Tyreek Hill's encounter with the police unfolded like a scene that we see far too often, right? He was supposedly stopped because they said he was speeding. It should be a routine interaction. Give him a ticket, move on. But it escalated quickly, probably because they didn't maybe he didn't roll the window down far enough or whatever. They thought he was getting uppity. I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying, in their mind, they want to put this person in his place. We don't care how far you moved up. We're going to try to take you down. Despite his compliance, and apparently other NFL players showed up to the scene, the situation still deteriorated, leading to unnecessary force being applied against him. Unnecessary. As far as we see right now, if there was necessary, they should be producing some video to show that. The video footage captured this tension and highlighted the stark reality of this racial bias in policing. And look, if the evidence comes out that he was threatening and he was running and he was fighting and all that kind of like that, then yeah, I'll get in and I'll apologize. I might even take this video down. But so far, that's not what the evidence is showing. It shows apparently that the police actions were out of line. And he didn't really pose a threat. Yet he was treated like he was some dangerous criminal. This overaction by law enforcement is not just a lapse of judgment, but a clear indication of systematic issues within the policing framework that allow for such disproportionate responses. It appears from the video that we've seen so far that the conduct of the police in this incident was unjustified and excessive. And I have cases where police have engaged in unnecessary, excessive force. Did they need to use that level of force? It doesn't appear that they had to in this situation. Not only does excessive force physically harm people, but also it has a profound psychological impact for other people that get in there and see it, for all those people that were driving by. I mean, you think of George Floyd and the psychological impact that had, that it created a whole entire movement. For someone like Tyreek Hill, who is in the public eye, this incident could have even wider repercussions on his career, public image, and then also the image of the police officers. More importantly, it sends a message to other young black men that they are always at risk of being dehumanized, no matter their social standing or achievements. You can buy all the Jefferson cleaners you want, and the police are still going to try to take you down. So be aware of that. Be aware of that. This incident involving Tyreek Hill is a sobering reminder that no one is immune to the deep-seated issues of racial profiling and excessive force. It's crucial that we speak out against these injustices and push for meaningful changes within our law enforcement systems. Every voice raised in protest brings us closer, a step closer to a future where justice and equality are not just ideals but realities. I urge you to engage in a dialogue and take action, whether it's supporting organizations that help with reform and safety, participating in community discussions, or educating yourself about these critical issues. Every effort counts, and we owe it to ourselves and our future generations to stand up against injustice and strive for a more equitable society. And that's your Nicholson Nugget of the Day. Please be sure to like and subscribe. After I made this video, before I posted it, I noticed that the police did release the video, the body cam video. And it's interesting to note that apparently, from what I've seen so far of the video, he did not say his name. He didn't say, "Hey, I'm Tyreek Hill," and he didn't throw that around. So that is something that appears to pan out. Also, an interesting thing is that they cussed him, and were telling him like, "Oh, you do what we say." When all it was he didn't want to roll his window down all the way. There's no law that you got to keep your window down. I mean, he had it down enough so he could hand him the ID, but they wanted it all the way down, and that was kind of like what I was saying about them thinking, oh, this is somebody that's uppity and it doesn't do exactly what we say. And so they just use that to, pull him out. I mean, he didn't get charged with not rolling down a window. So obviously it's not a crime. It just, apparently someone's feelings got hurt and they just wanted to get in there and try to show him who's the boss. So it is a little questionable in one of the videos. The statement is, hey, you realize he's Miami Dolphins like star player. And it's kind of like, oh, guess what? He's just not some, average or below average black dude. Like, this guy is famous. But that's why, once again, when he gave that press conference, he being Tyreek Hill, said, what if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? Because that's basically the way they were treating him. And I'm not saying that people should get special treatment. I'm saying that the reason why it kind of stopped is because of who he was. But if he was not Tyreek Hill, it could have escalated even further where things could have got much worse. So anyway, the video's out there now. This is your Nicholson Nugget of the Day. Please be sure to like and subscribe.